Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Doug Walters, and with us today we have Mr. Mark Bird. Mark is a senior risk engineer with AXA XL and is joining us for some discussion on a growing topic. That topic is subcontractor default insurance and owner direct purchase of equipment, or as some may know it, ODP. Before we get into that, Mark, can you share a little bit about your career and how you navigated your way into your current position at AXA XL?
I'm happy to do that. So thanks for the nice introduction. As Doug mentioned, my name is Mark Bird. I'm a senior SDI risk engineer with AXA XL, residing in Greenville, South Carolina. I attended a small private liberal arts university, Lander University, and Clemson University, graduating with a degree in administrative management. I began my career with AXA XL in 2019. Prior to that, I spent about 25 years with a large commercial general contracting firm located here in the Southeast. I was the company's senior risk manager, where I was responsible for the administration of the subcontractor pre-qualification program. I was managed the SDI program as well, in addition to reviewing and approving proposed modifications to standard subcontract terms and conditions. I reviewed and approved P&P bond forms, certificates of insurance, and I assisted our operations folks with drafting notice to cure and notice of default letters, along with handling subcontractor default claims. Prior to that, shortly after I graduated from college, I spent about 10 years working as a senior claims examiner for a property and casualty insurance carrier. And that's really where I got my start and cut my teeth in the insurance industry.
Mm-hmm. That's a very robust career path you have there.
Well, thanks. It's not how you drive, it's how you arrive.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, so let's get into the topic at hand here.
Sure.
So, Mark, you have a publication coming out
Right.
that will be released soon, and the topic is subcontract default insurance and owner direct purchases. So, as I mentioned earlier, this is a growing topic, right? Can you give us sort of a Reader's Digest version of what subcontractor default insurance is?
Sure, I'll try to give you a little bit of a succinct definition, but subcontractor default insurance, or SDI, as it's commonly known, is an insurance product that protects general contractors from financial losses resulting from subcontractor's default, or if a subcontractor fails to perform or fulfill its contractual obligations. That's really the most succinct definition I can give you.
Okay. And then I guess let's talk a little bit about owner direct purchases and then how they relate to the SDI program.
Okay, so an owner direct purchase, or an ODP, you mentioned that acronym earlier. Those are typically materials or equipment that a project owner is going to purchase directly from a material supplier or a vendor, and in a lot of cases, bypass the general contractor or the subcontractor. And there might be a variety of reasons that an owner may elect to do that. They may have an established relationship with a specific supplier, or perhaps they're looking to take advantage of bulk purchasing discounts. At the end of the day, it tends to be more common when an owner is strictly taking advantage of those direct purchase opportunities for tax savings purposes. That tends to be the biggest driver.
Okay. So, obviously, when the owner decides to purchase some very large critical path equipment on the job, it creates its own fair share of challenges, right, for the project management team. So today we're not really talking about those so much as we are policy coverage and how this relates to the SDI program. So, keeping that in mind, can you kind of talk to us about the importance of understanding the policies, the contract terms, maybe the subcontracts, and some things for people to keep an eye on?
Sure. So while the owner's approach to engaging in owner direct purchase opportunities may be largely driven by cost or tax savings, it also opens the door for some potential risks, like untimely delivery of materials that might lend itself to delays or financial losses, maybe insufficient quality or quantities, along with defective materials that may not meet project specifications. So in the context of an owner direct purchase, the circumstances where the project owner directly purchases materials or equipment that would typically be provided by a subcontractor, coverage under an SDI policy can vary depending on a number of factors. As a result, there may be circumstances where coverage for ODPs could be jeopardized, and the financial responsibility for addressing those risks that we just mentioned could fall on the project owner or the general contractor. Consequently, it's important to kind of keep in mind that coverage can vary under an SDI policy based on the terms of the specific agreements between the parties involved. That's the contract between the owner and the general contractor, and the contract between the general contractor and the subcontractor, and of course the way the SDI policy is worded as well. So on that basis, it's equally important for general contractors to not only carefully review the terms of both the prime contract and the subcontract, but consult with their AXA XL underwriters. Talk to your legal and your insurance professionals just to be sure that that any ODPs are adequately covered. Who retains the risk for the material supply, and are the premiums paid on the total value of the subcontract? That would be the biggest takeaway.
Great. Thank you for that high-level explanation, Mark. As I mentioned earlier, Mark has a publication coming out. At the end of this article, there'll be a QR code. You can click on that to access the publication. Right, Mark, thank you so much for coming. Any parting words for the audience on the topic?
Thanks. And yes, contract details matter, particularly with regard to what the subcontract risks entail. So be sure to take a look at those.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you.
Take care.